Bizarre Brain Comics. Yeehaw, partners! This is the Trigger Kid here once again for Bizarre Brain Comics, where I like to tell tales of the Wild West that never was. This time I got a fistful of Western comics, blazing Western action, just to peruse with you. But before we do that, I want to remind you, I have two books. It's been a while since I've plugged these. Two books available. Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, which is some humor and with a little bit of adventure. And Bizarre Brain Comics presents Heroes, which is more mainstream with some superhero-y stuff, a little bit of horror stuff, and even has a Western story in there. $7.99 each, available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble online store and other online outlets. And I appreciate everybody who has already got their copies. Okay, here we are. I shot this video once before, but I had problems. I shot it several days ago. But when I went to upload it yesterday, for some reason, even though it was in my gallery, it would not show up in my gallery when to be selected to upload. So I got to shoot the thing over again. So I just got rid of the old one. So here we go, and we're starting off here with The Lone Ranger from Dell Comics, 1953, number 61. Was it 53 or 52? 53, yeah, 1953. This is really rough. They're like falling apart. So it's still readable, but kind of just barely. This has a great cover painting by Ernest Nordley. And see, I even have Lone Ranger here, right here on my cup, and I think it may very well be the same artist who did that, because this is from part of a couple of covers from the Dell books. And in here I don't know who wrote it. Could have been Paul S. Newman or Gaylord Dubois or someone else, but they were both common writers for the title. But this was drawn by Tom Gill, who was the primary, if not exclusive, Lone Ranger artist for Dell and Gold Key. Through those years, and he also later did Bonanza at Gold Key. So, yeehaw! Then keeping on with the Lonesome Stranger. Here we have. I actually happen to have two copies of this particular one. As a part of a from Topps, 1994? Is that what I just looked at it, now I've forgotten. Yeah, I think so, 1994. Yeah. Had a 4-issue miniseries. I've only got 2, 3, and 4. Don't have the first one. I recently reread what I've got here. It was great. Written by Joe R. Lansdale with art by Tim Truman and Rick Magyar. And there's some really great stuff. Of course, if it's Joe R. Lansdale writing a Western, you know it's weird, and it is weird. And this story for this part is It Crawls, and it is really weird about some. That's issue 2. Here's issue 3. When we look at Origins, this goes back and they have. Some Aztec treasure, including an Aztec mummy from Mexico, making a tour at American museums, and it's on a train, and it's stolen by certain bad guys. Well, it turns out that mummy was cursed, and it comes to life, starts eating people, and the Lone Ranger and Tonto and have to deal with it. It's very weird. As you can see some of the nice interior artwork, all the piles of bodies, and some weird stuff, and some artifacts. They get a little bit of help from a Chinese friend of theirs, a Chinese elder, and it goes back and recounts a version of the Lone Ranger's origin, and it also involves Tonto, causing a schism between the two. But in part 4, they come back together to defeat the horror of It Crawls, and there you can see that horrifying alien mummy thing. And did a great job on the artwork. It looks much more realistic, as far than the old-fashioned way of looking at the Lone Ranger. And I'd have to dig it out now, but it even had one point where he's with the Rangers dealing with the fictitious governor of Texas running for re-election, and he modeled that the real POS governor on Ronald Reagan. You can clearly see it's Ronald Reagan. Okay, that's issue 404. Okay. Then we go to Marvel. 1972. Reno Jones and Kid Cassidy. Gunhawks. Okay, Reno, this is your show. How do we get out of this one? Well, look at it this way, kid. Sometimes us good guys get killed. Two rode together. It was a short-lived. This is at a time when most of Marvel's westerns were reprint material, and they started a new title which ran for I think 7 or 8 issues. Reno as the Gunhawks, taking place right after the war, Gary Friedrich. Gary Friedrich was the writer. And Sid Shores was the artist for the first 2 issues. And then shortly after this, it was when he passed away. And so, but had some real nice work here. Good storytelling, and a lot of fun. And it wound up being has a certain notoriety to it. Not so much for this issue. This is issue 1. Then here's issue 2. Duck, Reno, those hombres are trying to kill us. They grew up as brothers on a southern plantation that did not hold slaves. All the blacks on that particular black folks on that particular plantation were free. And anyway, and that's part of their origin story. But the very last issue, in a later issue, the Kid Cassidy character is killed, and Reno Jones is blamed for it. So he's on the run. He's gone off. The very last issue, the title is changed to Reno Jones, the Gunhawk, which was the very first mainstream major publisher to have a main black character in the title. Of course, it was only for 1 issue. That was even before Black Panther had his own title. He appeared in other titles or under other titles, and as the main character, like in Jungle Action. But it was Gunhawk, from what I understand, was the first mainstream American black hero character to have his own titled comic. That is issue 3. I only have the 3 here. I do have 2 or 3 others, but they weren't. All these were just handy, all right together. Then got Reno Jones. Call off the slaughter, General. Enough blood's been shed. I've got orders to wipe out this village, cowboy. Every man, woman, and child. And if you get in my way, that includes you. This one was not drawn by Sid Shores, but by the great Dick Ayers, who does wonderful work on, of course, for innumerable westerns as well as war comics. Of course, he did a lot of superhero stuff too, but this is where he really his work really shown in those 2 genres. Then we go here to Charlton Comics. This is in really rough shape, so rough there's no back cover, and the cover is stapled on. So Kid Montana. Now I've forgotten what issue this was. And it says, this is from 1963, issue number 42, Kid Montana. Here was some great artwork by Pat Morisi. Of course, he's not really, you can really recognize his style. He's great draftsmanship, but had less storytelling and less variety in his panels. They're mostly headshots and mid shots and stuff. That one isn't Pat Morisi. But then here we go back to Pat Morisi. But I really like his stuff. And remember, Pat Morisi, he was also a New York City cop. While he was doing comics, I guess he was a comic artist. Then he became a cop, and he wasn't allowed as a cop to moonlight, and he was doing comics as well. So for years, he couldn't use his own name, so he just used the pseudonym PAM. He used his initials for his credit, but he can really recognize his art style. Then we go here to issue number 1 of Batlash, very rough issue, 1968, from DC Comics. Yeah, 1968. And of course, Batlash is a Western character created by Sergio Aragonis, and Denny O'Neil helped with the writing, because Sergio had problems with English, although he's very fluent now. But back then he was still having some difficulties with his English, and had to have other writers help him with the dialogue. Well, even now he still works with Mark Evanier on Gru. Even if he, but this is really cool. So, Nick Carty, interior art. Nick Carty, who also had done a good deal of Aquaman, and in later years did all kinds of covers. Just about everything was Nick Carty cover in the late 60s and early 70s. You can see some really nice artwork there from Batlash. Will he save the West or ruin it? And he's still going strong. They still bring him up once in a while. And back to Marvel here. This was Kid Colt Outlaw number 154. This was, 69 was it? 1971. And Jack Keller art. This is all reprint from the 50s stuff, 50s and early 60s. Who's this artist? Don Heck. This is some early Don Heck. That's some really nice stuff from Don Heck. Then back to Jack Keller. And I really love Jack Keller's artwork on Kid Colt Outlaw. Talked about him so many times. Then we're going to finish this up with the Ringo Kid, number 1. This was also 71, I think. No, 1969. It's Ringo, his name makes bad men tremble. Ringo, the fastest gun alive. It's a great cover. And I was just still early in learning cursive. And I wrote my name right here. And yeah, because this is, I've had this copy for, what would it be, 56 years. And, yeah, so, the Ringo Kid. But this is all reprint. Even though it's a number 1, it's reprint from the 50s. And you know that because the artist is Joe Maneely, who died in an accident. I can't remember if it was an auto accident or a train accident. I'm thinking it was a subway train accident in 57 or 58. So, and he was a really fine artist. I really like and I just loved his Ringo Kid stuff. It's just beautiful. Ringo Kid. So that is all I have to share with you this time around. So I do want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think of this little batch of Wild West goodness, blazing Western action. in the dusty days of the Old West? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.